Hi everyone, Frank Hackett here from Retro Barber. I'm back to you with another tutorial. So in today's tutorial I'm going to take you through step by step on how I do a high skin fade. The first thing we need to do is create a guideline with my scissors. So as you can see, I'm going to take horizontal sections just about 1/4 of an inch above the temple area, and I'm going to create a box section. So working straight down along the side and across the back. This is going to act as a guideline for my clipper work. A lot of people find it difficult to know how high to go up with your clippers. So by creating this guideline, it just basically stops you from going too high into the round of the head. So as you go in with whatever attachment you decide on, in this case I think I'm going to go in with a number 2 and just create a blank canvas. I'll just bring my 2 blade up to my guideline and just fade it off the head. Now I take my number 2 attachment, which is 6mm, and run it up the head and come off just as I approach the guideline. So I repeat this process using my number 2 guard, and also take sections diagonally just to pick up hairs that are growing in different directions. You're not always going to pick up everything by just taking vertical sections with your clipper. So it's a good way of cross-checking your work as well, just to make sure you don't miss anything. Now we drop down to the 1.5 attachment. This basically is a number 1 guard with the lever on the left hand side of the clipper pulled back. So we just run it up the head, and as you approach the area where we finish with the number 2 attachment, we fade it off just by flicking the hands out with a nice soft movement. Now I move down to the half setting on the clippers and repeat the same process. When this is complete, I close up the lever on the left hand side and repeat the process again. So this is on my 0 setting. It's really important here to keep this flicking movement out so we don't build weight. I outline the front of the hairline with my Andes Slimline Pro. This gives more definition to the outline of the haircut and adds a sharper finish to the cut. So now we need to take this haircut right down to the skin. So in this case here, I'm using my Wahl foil razor. And the way I like to use it, first of all, is I've went through all my other attachments from my half, my 1, right down to my 0, and also my outliner. But there's still quite a lot of hair there. This hair is quite strong. So basically what I do first is I run from the top down with the foil razor, and it just clears away the hair and it just brings it down to another level. So it really creates a nice blank canvas. So when I have that done, I work from the bottom up, and I also work from side to side. So the hair is obviously growing in different directions. So this covers every angle really, and it gets it right down to the skin tight. So once we have the skin fade on the sides complete, we have to move back up to the parietal ridge. So I'm using clippers over comb here. I'm using a wide tooth comb. So basically I start at the temple area and I work up, and I just keep working up through my sections and back through the head. Repeat the process on the back and on the other side. I generally don't move on to my next section until I'm happy with my previous section. I'm turning the comb out in a C-shaped movement, and I'm just cutting the hair that's on the spine of the comb. So at this stage of the haircut, I have the back and sides blended in about maybe 90%. I don't normally blend it in fully until I have the top cut as well. So as you can see, I've taken a profile section here, and I'm going to start at the crown area. So starting at the crown area, I take vertical sections at 90 degrees and work my way forward. At this stage, just be aware of your body position. We want to be standing parallel to what we're cutting. So I'm just blunt cutting straight across and working my way forward until I reach the front hairline. Once our profile section is complete, move back to the crown area, and now we're going to take horizontal sections using my guideline from my original profile section. Try and keep these sections at roughly about 1/4 of an inch and work your way forward again until you reach the front hairline. If you want to keep a little bit more length towards the front, slightly over direct on the last few sections. I repeat this process on the other side of the profile section. working my way from the crown forward in horizontal sections. I'm taking these sections roughly about 1/4 of an inch wide, take them nice and clean, and work methodically from the back to the front hairline. Moving on to the fringe area, I'm going to be cropping the front of this fringe. So I take about a 1/2 inch section, working from the front hairline back, and section this off. So it's really important when doing fringes to have a good consultation with your client and make sure that you're on the same wavelength. So I'm working from the left hand side as we look at it and working straight across. So I'm not going to be going too short on it because the customer wants to wear his fringe straight down and also wants to be able to move it to the right or left as well. Once I have the fringe area complete, I comb down my sections, and basically what I'm doing here is I'm just slicing down through the hair just to remove a little bit of weight, and it just creates a little bit of texture and a little bit of movement on the fringe area. I've blow dried off the hair, so now it's completely dry, and I have moved on to my thinning scissors over comb. So a lot of hairdressers don't really like the thinning scissors, but sometimes I like to use it at the end of a haircut just to run through it, and it just softens out the sides and breaks up the top a little bit. Obviously we have to be careful that we don't overuse it because it can shatter the hair too much. Just some final finishing touches on the sides. Sometimes you might be left with some shadows, so I was just using a transitional blade there just to remove any shadows, and then I revert back to my 1/2 and 0 and repeat the process and use a descending technique. I'd really like to give this haircut a nice sharp finish, so I'm going to use an open razor around the hairline. So before I can do that, I'm just going to put a bit of moisturizer around the perimeter of the haircut. So this just softens out the skin, and it allows the blade to slide over the skin a little bit easier. So the main thing here really is just good tension. So you have to have good tension, and the blade is going to be going at a 45-degree angle. So it's really a great technique for adding definition to the front hairline of the haircut. So I continue this process around the ear and also to the back of the ear as well. As you can see, I'm using a backhanded technique, which can be tricky and it does take a little bit of practice, so be careful if you're trying this out. As I move to the back of the haircut, this is a really great way just to practice using your open razor. If you haven't used one before, just practice it on some customers. And tension is the key, to be honest here. So really good tension, stretch it out well with your thumb, and then 45-degree angle on the blade. So the final step is just adding a bit of product in. Generally when I'm putting product in, I rub it into the palms of my hands and literally just really work it through the hair, so it's not just on the outside, that it's really worked into the hair, and it just allows the customer to style the hair pretty much any way they want. So that's pretty much the end of today's tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you might consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any comments, please drop them in the comment box below. And I hope to be back to you soon with some more tutorials. Thanks for watching.